is Dr. Alan Sills, the NFL's chief medical officer. This is PFTPM. I wasn't planning to add anything beyond our interview with Dr. Sills. 16 minutes, decent length, but I wanted to answer some questions today. I know it's been a while since we've done that. And also, there's some news, a little Friday afternoon news dumpage from the NFL. We've been waiting for the league to do something with Antonio Brown. You know my feelings on it. I have had a very strong conviction that the league has taken full advantage of its ability under the personal conduct policy to drag its feet, which it's done for 11 months with 3 different incidents involving Antonio Brown that have not been resolved. Well, as of today, they are resolved. According to NFL media, which is the NFL, 2 of the 3 incidents are covered by an 8-game suspension that was levied by the league. Now, by way of a refresher, first incident, an accusation of sexual assault and rape made in a lawsuit filed last September. Second incident, a claim made by a woman regarding a completely separate incident that Antonio Brown harassed her via text message after she went public to SI.com with her concerns. Third incident, the felony arrest of Antonio Brown after an altercation with a moving truck driver, reportedly because Brown didn't want to pay the bill for the items that were being delivered to his home in South Florida. He has since pleaded no contest to felony charges. So that's the one that was most clearly on the tee for punishment, because the case fully and finally resolved, nothing further to be investigated, nothing further for the NFL to do. Now, according to NFL media, again, which is the NFL, the 8-game suspension covers the altercation with a moving truck driver and the allegation made by the woman who claims she was harassed by Antonio Brown after raising some concerns to SI.com. The original incident, the one that got all of this started, that incident still unresolved by the NFL. And I get the impression, based upon the reporting from NFL media, i.e. the NFL, that the league is going to wait and see what happens in the civil lawsuit before making a decision on whether or not Antonio Brown should be disciplined for that claim. Now, even though it's not a criminal case, the claim made in this civil lawsuit is a serious one: sexual assault and rape. And if the league believes Antonio Brown raped the woman that's suing him for sexual assault and rape, he should never play in the NFL again. So when you consider the NFL's had a chance to interview her, chance to interview him, chance to do whatever other investigation it needs to do, it doesn't have to wait for the civil lawsuit to be resolved. Make a decision. He did it or he didn't do it. See, I think the NFL is concerned about the possibility that the league would find that he didn't do it, and then there'd be a verdict in a civil lawsuit at some point down the road that he did do it. The NFL would look foolish finding he's blameless, but then having a jury find that, oh, by the way, we believe he committed sexual assault and or rape. But in this setting, I don't know that waiting makes a whole lot of sense. When you're not talking about a criminal case, you're talking about a civil claim with a low standard. It goes one way or the other. It depends upon who the jury believes. The NFL needs to decide who it believes. The NFL has had the opportunity to speak to the people involved. The NFL has had an opportunity to come to a conclusion. Put this behind everyone. He did it or he didn't do it. If you believe him, don't suspend him for it. Clear him of it and move forward. If you don't believe him, then you believe he committed rape, then tell him he can never play in the NFL again, period. The other thing that's embedded in this, and I assume based upon the way this has happened, that he won't land on the commissioner exempt list if he's signed. But the NFL seems to be acknowledging that the claim of sexual assault and rape made in a civil setting is not enough standing alone to result in Antonio Brown being placed on paid leave, because that claim is still out there. Now, I don't know whether they just don't want to focus on that to crystallize and articulate exactly what this suspension means. If, again, the report from NFL media, which is the NFL, is accurate, that only 2 of the 3 claims have been resolved. But this donut hole is just strange, that you've made the guy wait for this long, that he served a 14-game unpaid suspension because no team was going to sign him and risk having to pay him not to play because of the belief he would have been put on the commissioner exempt list. Well, now we resolved 2 of the 3 claims. The one that's left is the claim for sexual assault and rape. And he's apparently not going to be put on the commissioner exempt list if he's signed, unless somebody gets the ultimate surprise where they sign Antonio Brown. The league says, all right, the 8-game suspension applies, and then he can play for you. The 8-game suspension comes and goes. He gets ready to play, and the league says, well, you know what? We're going to put him on the commissioner exempt list because of the unresolved claim of sexual assault and rape. This is an unresolved claim of sexual assault and rape. Either resolve it or acknowledge we can't resolve it. And I don't know what you do if you, I mean, see, I really think that this is all driven by the concern that if the league were to exonerate him, if the league were to find he didn't commit sexual assault and or rape, and if the league concluded that, I don't know why he ever plays it. If you find he didn't do it and a civil jury proves you wrong, then you have an even bigger PR mess. And make no mistake about it, this entire mechanism is driven by PR. It's not driven by some sense of justice and fairness, and we're going to do the right thing, and we're going to supplement the justice system, and we have our own in-house justice system to deal with these things. No. This entire effort to police the private lives of players is about PR. It's about having guys employed who have been accused of doing horrible things while not at work. And it was supplemented 6 years ago with the opportunity to put the players on paid leave when the allegations are so strong that they can't have the guy around. And, you know, the league's position on all of this is that it's not punishment to put a guy on paid leave, which is completely misguided because players want to play football. Of course, it's punishment to not let someone play and to just pay their salary. It's a cynical view of how players operate. Look, I'm glad they've finally done something, but they still have left a major question unresolved, and who knows when it will be resolved. But apparently they're not going to put him on the commissioner exempt list, and now someone can sign him. So who's going to sign him? The 2 leading candidates seem to be the Seahawks and the Ravens. I continue that the Ravens don't really want to sign him, but they don't want to tell him no because they don't want to give him reason to poison his cousin Marquise Hollywood Brown against the team for which Marquise Hollywood Brown plays. So you kind of hold him at arm's length. You don't say yes, you don't say no, and you wait and you hope and you pray that the Seahawks give the guy a job. Because if you tell him no, he isn't going to be happy, obviously. Sign him and it goes sideways and you have to cut him, he's not going to be happy. So, you know, it's just one of those strange, awkward things for the Ravens where I think they don't want him. Just yesterday, John Harbaugh, the coach of the team, said, I don't even think he's available to be signed now. Well, he always has been available to be signed. The concern was if you sign him, he lands on the commissioner exempt list. Now, some clarity. If you sign him, he can be with you for training camp. And then when training camp ends and the week 1 preparations begin in earnest, that's when he begins his 8-game suspension, apparently without fear of being placed on the commissioner exempt list, but with possibility hovering that if and when the civil lawsuit is resolved, there will be another punishment imposed by the league. If I were Antonio Brown, I would do what should have been done a long time ago, what should have been done before that lawsuit was even filed. Write the check to settle the case. Whatever it takes, make that case go away. Should have done it before it was ever filed. Should definitely do it now, because if he wants to come back and play in the NFL, you don't want to have this hanging over you.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.